Okay. Okay. There's honestly two. This is. First off, let me say welcome to Trump's budget part two. In this one coming up, I will be covering some of the cuts being made to HUD, the USDA, and Department of Education. Now, these are in no way, honestly, this is really in no way a comprehensive review of everything because, Jesus, like, I'll include a link to the PDF or to the government website where you can actually read the entire thing, because I mean it is just like 60 some odd pages of suck, like absolute crap. Like I mean honestly, it's just one of those things like I can't go over. It's not possible really for me to be able to thoroughly cover every single bad thing about it. So basically what I have to do is try to pick like the shittiest of shitty and present it to you. So, anyway, part two involves, among other things, it involves a press conference conducted by this asshole. Mick Mulvaney is the White House budget director, and he has recently gave a press conference trying to justify the budget and all the cuts going on everywhere. And I mean, this guy, oh God, it's just okay. Let's go over a few things like real quick here that he hit on. Actually, you know what? Better idea. I've got a video of this press conference. So let's go to the video, and I'll give you some of my thoughts afterward.
Housing and urban development and the community development block grants aren't exclusively about housing. They support a variety of different programs, including in part Meals on Wheels that affects a lot of Americans. In Austin, Texas today, one organization there that delivers those meals to thousands of elderly says that those citizens will no longer be able to be provided those meals in those communities. So what do you say to those Americans who are ultimately losing out, not on housing, but on other things that are taken out of this budget?
And as you know, I think you know, that Meals on Wheels is not a federal program. It's part of that community, that CDBGs, the block grants that we give to the states. And many states make the decision to use that money on Meals on Wheels. Here's what I can tell you about CDBGs, because that's what we fund, right? Is that we spent $150 billion on those programs since the 1970s. The CDBGs have been identified as programs since, I believe, the second Bush administration, as ones that were just not showing any results. That we can't do that anymore. We can't spend money on programs just because they sound good and great. Meals on Wheels sounds great. Again, that's a state decision to fund that particular portion to it, to take the federal money and give it to the states and say, look, we want to give you money for programs that don't work. I can't defend that anymore. We cannot defend that anymore. We're $20 trillion in debt. We're going to spend money. We're going to spend a lot of money, but we're not going to spend it on programs that cannot show that they actually deliver the promises that we've made to people.
Okay, I just want to interject something in here. Mick, can I call you Mick? Okay. This is one of those things. It's like it's so infuriating that it's hard to come up with a nice, like, coherent comment about it. But here, I'm gonna give it a shot. Let me. Hopefully, I can pull this off here. Okay. Now, Mr. Mick Mulvaney here claims that programs like Meals on Wheels and the CDBG program, more on that in a minute, we can't afford them because, there's just simply there's no evidence that they don't work, and we can't fund it if it doesn't work. We just can't afford it. Okay, well, we can't afford to fund these programs that don't show any results. What about the military? Mick, Mike. I'm guessing Mick. Yeah, Mick. What about the military? What kind of results have we seen from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan? Both going on for over a decade. Those wars have when it's all said and done, when you have to pay for the men, the material, the health benefits, the fucking interest rates, those two wars are projected to cost this country over $7 trillion with a T, trillion dollars. $7 trillion. And, this asshole isn't even blinking an eye about that. To contrary, in this same budget that's saying we can't afford a few $100 million or, $1 billion or $2 billion to help the poor and, to help provide funding to build community centers and provide meals for the elderly. In the same budget that says that, they want to dump over $50 billion more into the military, into wars in foreign countries that have never shown a result won. There's nothing. We don't even know, as a country, have no idea really as to why we're even doing it. But that gets a funding increase. And these programs get cut. Okay. Let's continue. There's a bit more.
Programs that do work or don't work. There's a program called The Shine that's in Pennsylvania, rural counties of Pennsylvania, that provides after-school educational programs for individuals in those areas, which just so happens to be the state that helped propel President Trump to the White House. I'm curious what you say to those Americans in a community where they tell me today that 800 individuals will no longer, children who need it most, will no longer be provided in those most needy of communities the educational care they need.
I'm not familiar. Y'all are at an advantage over me because I have to memorize all 4,000 line items. So let's talk about after-school programs generally. They're supposed to be educational programs, right? And that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to help kids who don't get fed at home get fed so they do better in school. Guess what? There's no demonstrable evidence they're actually doing that. There's no demonstrable evidence they're actually helping results, helping kids do better in school, which is what, when we took your money from you to say, look, we're going to go spend on an after-school program, the way we justified it was, these programs are going to help these kids do better in school and get better jobs.
Okay, I'm gonna need to help old Mick here out with a couple things because he's getting his wires crossed. What a dumb shit. Okay. Now, see, what's going on here? You see how he mentioned the reporter asked him a question about after-school programs. After-school programs? Okay, this will be kind of like a combination of like HUD and not HUD, Department of Education and USDA. All right, now the reporter asked him a question about after-school programs, and he answered with a response not really about after-school programs, about feeding kids. Which, by the way, both of them this is just one of those issues when it comes to feeding hungry children and providing after-school programs and bettering education. Those are not programs that you fuck with. It's like you are even if they're helping a little bit. Even if a program, say hypothetically, there was a program there isn't specifically for this purpose, but to say that his response was correct in that, say there was a school program that was providing meals for kids that couldn't afford proper nutrition, on the grounds of that would improve their grades and their education. even if there was no proof to show that improved grades, the fact that you would propose cutting a program that feeds hungry kids, honestly, it makes you a bastard. Like, it makes you a son of a bitch. Like, just automatically. Okay? It doesn't matter. Like, we're talking about, like, freaking starving kids here. And like, oh, well, it doesn't... Anyway, that was a hypothetical. Let's go into the actual stuff that what he meant to say. Or what, okay, first, the question that he was asked by the reporter about after-school programs. That is a question pertaining to a program called the 21st Century Community Learning Centers program. Anyway, that is part of the Department of Education. It's been going on for a number of years. And the Trump budget proposal eliminates it. Specifically on those grounds, saying, oh, well, there's, basically the program provides funding through grants for after-school programs across the country. Now, the claim that they use, the justification for cutting it, is that the program lacks strong evidence of meeting its objectives, which was, of course, improving education. Are our kids learning well? And whatnot. So, the administration put out this budget, and this isn't just, we're cutting their budget. No, they're getting rid of it, saying that it's ineffective and it doesn't work. That it's not improving grades, it's not helping any kids by providing these after-school programs. By the way, before I forget, the thing about feeding... Actually, no, that's a different segment. Never mind. The thing about feeding kids, at least American kids, that's handled by something else. That's USDA. So far, no official plans to cut that program, but we'll see. Assholes. Anyway, back on topic of this the 21st Century Community Learning Centers program. CCLC. Honestly, the acronym for me is harder to remember than just saying the whole damn thing. Anyway. Now, that's the thing. And it says it in the budget. Again, link in the description for the actual text of the blueprint to make America great again. Whatever. Dumb shits. Anyway. So, that is the rationale. That is basically a quote from the reasoning, a little paragraph where they say they're eliminating it, is that the program lacks strong evidence of meeting its objectives. Okay, well, see, here's the thing with that. There is, in fact, it being a government program, there is this whole thing of, government accountability, review processes, things like that go on within our government. Shocking, I know, right? And see, if you actually look into things, Mick, looking at you, dumb shit. I mean, seriously, it took me 5 minutes. It's 10 minutes. It took me 10 minutes on Google to find this. But the Department of Education itself, along with various other third parties, put out basically progress reports annually on how the program is working. Okay? So let's see how this program that failed to meet its objectives, which was to improve the kids' ability to learn and staying in school and graduating and all that good shit. Let's see how it actually performed according to the Department of Education. Okay. Now, on the available, the data that was collected for, what year is this? This is from 2013 to 2014. Alright, so, the key findings in the summary of the document, and again, link in the description to where you can find this. In the program, over 2.2 million children were served by this program nationwide. Now, of those people of the kids that were served by this program, 36.5% had improvements in mathematics grades. 36.8% had improvements in English. 5.4% had improvements on state assessments in elementary reading. 12.6 in middle school increase in middle school mathematics, and 9.6 in high school mathematics. 49.4% of teachers reported improvement in homework completion. 36.5% of teachers reported improvement in student behavior. And they summarize it by saying, in the long run, these areas of improvement, as well as 21st century CCLC students developing a positive relationship to school through their participation, means that these students are more likely to persist in high school graduation. The data and performance indicate that this broad-reaching program touches students' lives in ways that will have far-reaching academic impact. Again, he could have gone, I don't know, down the hall, down the street, I don't know physically where the offices are located to the Department of Education, and gotten all of this information right there. Hey, why don't you take here's some reading to do before you cut this program, and assume it just doesn't do any good. Son of a bitch. Okay. Now, while we're on the subject of the Department of Education, let's look at other areas of the Department of Education that are not getting their budgets cut. Specifically, private school and charter school vouchers and things like that. There's more to it. It's complex, but again, I'm already at like 18 minutes in, so I can't keep... I'll post the links if you want. There's a lot of good reading on the subject. But anyway, this is just glossing. Anyway, one area in the Department of Education that's not getting cuts is their funding and promotion of school choice initiatives, which is basically like vouchers and funding, things like that, to help with destroying our public school system and replacing it with private charter schools. Now, I just want to mention here, this is about the one area, damn near the only area of the Department of Education that's not getting cut to the bone. Which, in this case, they're actually getting an increase in funding. I just want to kind of point this out to Mr. I'm looking at the numbers, we just can't afford it because it's not doing what it's supposed to. The government, this budget is trying to fund those private school, like charter school things, and there is actually strong evidence that privatizing schools is a bad fucking idea. Case in point, the freaking state of Michigan. It has some of the lowest test scores in the country, and is basically a result of Betsy DeVos's crusade to, replace publicly funded schools with privately run, friggin' Jesus camps or something. So, that program has actual evidence of it, that way of doing things has actual evidence and data showing that it does not work. And that is a bad idea. Yet, they're going to pour their money into that while cutting programs that actually do work and that actually improve the lives of underprivileged students. Again, where's the think of the children Republicans now? I mean, they were all over it during, any debates involving abortion. But when it comes to actually caring for kids, once they're out of the womb, oh, well, shit, we just don't have the money. Anyway. It's fucking disgusting. Moving on, the USDA. USDA is an odd one, because you don't really think of USDA that much, honestly. Like, I mean, they do the thing, they inspect steaks and eggs and all that, but they're not a very public organization. It's not like a real in-your-face kind of thing for average people, at least not for me. But they're seeing a lot of budget cuts as well. For example, I'm going to leave him up there because, I don't know, I think he should be the subject of ridicule. Anyway, USDA. A couple of things from the list that they're getting cut out. They want to eliminate, the budget plan proposes eliminating the water and wastewater loan and grant program. Is a program that provides funding for clean and reliable drinking water systems, sanitary sewage disposal, sanitary solid waste disposal, stormwater drainage to households and businesses in eligible rural areas. And with the claim of justification for eliminating it, that rural communities can be served by private sector financing. Again, like, private companies don't want to go in the middle of fucking nowhere and pour money into infrastructure. That's why there's no infrastructure there already. Or in federal resource, or from other federal sources, such as the EPA revolving fund, state revolving fund. Okay, well, that was their thing, like, oh, well, it's a duplicate thing, it's redundant, the EPA has the state revolving fund thing. Now, in that section of the budget, they claim that eliminating this loan and grant program would be a savings of $498 million to the budget. Almost $500 million will be saved from this program. And if you go over to the section on the EPA, they are actually increasing the EPA state revolving fund to compensate by $4 million. Yeah. I don't know how to explain this. Maybe his calculator broke. I don't know, like you get those like older LCD displays, they get like little numbers get a little janky. I don't know. But somehow 500 million turned into 4. Like, oh, well, that's all we need to increase it by, 4 million. We're going to compensate from, and that's the thing too, it's like it's not just as simple as like, oh, we're getting rid of this because this is redundant. Well, now you got to go and check that other thing and find out what they're doing to that. I was honestly surprised that they weren't cutting that as well. But, yeah, $4 million to compensate for a $500 million cut somewhere else. Again, it's like that's what we get for electing a president who can't add or subtract or probably multiply and divide. I mean, Jesus, it's not that hard. One is bigger than the other. So, that's one of the things they're cutting. They also want to eliminate the discretionary activities of the Rural Business and Cooperative Service. This is a organization or office that offers programs to support business development and job training opportunities for rural residents. So, Mr. America First here evidently doesn't feel that it's an important thing, that's something we need to really be wasting our money on to help build and develop small business. When this son of a bitch, I mean, really, come on. Like, the idea that and it's one of those things, like, I kind of go back to the idea of, like, sort of as they say, the country being, as far as politics goes in America right now, the whole thing of sort of America being woke as fuck kind of applies here, where it's like normally it's the president, it's the budget. Who the hell actually willingly reads through the presidential budget proposal? Well, I do. But anyway, other than that, normally not many. So I think there's a lot of things too that they try to hide this shit. But then people are actually paying attention, so they look at it and go, "What are you doing, you son of a bitch? Why are you cutting these programs? You want to promote jobs, but you're cutting programs right here. You're cutting programs that promote business development and job training for rural residents. Places where there already are not much in the way of jobs or gainful employment or even education opportunities for that matter. And so that's why they have the damn program. So people can get, they can get job training, they can help to support, like, grow their business, they can get training in entrepreneurial training and assistance. And that is sort of the essence, the small business, the whole small business owner kind of thing. That is like part of the freaking American dream thing that especially the Republicans like to push. And they're cutting the programs that actually help to make that happen. And also, last but not least, from the USDA. See, I'm going back to that part of the video. Remember when it's been a while, but remember when he was saying about feeding kids? Reporter asked him about the after school programs, and he goes into this thing about feeding kids. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'm sure a number of the after school programs provide lunches, I would imagine, but it's not like a specific part of the program that I found. One second. Diet Cherry Coke. 0. Amazing. Anyway, that's not really a part of the program that I specifically found. So, anyway. However, if you go to the section for the USDA and you look at their budget cuts, they do, in fact, have a school food program that's getting cut. And that is the McGovern-Dole International Food for Education Program that helps to support school feeding and maternal and child nutrition projects internationally. So, I'm guessing this is what Trump means by America First, basically fuck the brown people, because here, I'm going to pull this up, the website. I think this might be what led him to want to cut this program. So, see, if you pull up the website, the webpage at the USDA for this program, brown people. All over the place. I bet that's why it's being cut. Someone was thumbing through the page, saw brown people, and was like, "Oh, fuck them, they don't need food." Pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And that's the thing, like, this is a program. Again, these are programs where it's like, okay, see, this is what you call not being a shitty human being, just being fucking decent. When you do things like this, okay? Like, the program, let's see, the key objective of the McGovern-Dole program is to reduce hunger and improve literacy and primary education, especially for girls. By providing school meals, teacher training, and related support, McGovern-Dole projects help boost school enrollment and academic performance. At the same time, the program also focuses on improving children's health and learning capacity before they enter school by offering nutrition programs for pregnant and nursing women, infants, and preschoolers. So this is a full-on, like, feed the little children of the world kind of program here. One of the few non-shitty things that this country does internationally to less fortunate countries. And, oh, God, we just can't afford that. Again, when it comes time to purchase bombs to drop on them, we can afford that plenty. But we can't afford to feed them. And see, that is the problem. That is why, honestly, I feel that America is being seen as basically sort of like the asshole of the world. Alright, we're just a friggin' dick to everyone. And that, I mean, why do you think we have problems with things like ISIS and Al-Qaeda and, you know, whatever, like Muslim Brotherhood, stuff like that? It's because we fucking blew up their damn country multiple times over. Alright, and then did nothing to help in any way. It just killed them, just in masses, like large amounts, just men, women, children, you know, friggin' drop bombs on hospitals and shit like that. Like, and honestly, they have a legitimate gripe. When what we need to be doing is we need to focus on programs like that, like feeding the damn kids. Don't, like, that's just like a general, like I said, like, you just make a general list for the government of, like, call it the don't be an asshole list. And on it, feed the little kids, and the babies, and the pregnant moms. Stop bombing hospitals. Stop killing people in all the countries. And actually, I don't know, maybe invest in actually helping them. You know, we go in with this plan of, oh, we're going to get out this horrible tyrannical dictator, and then we don't do shit. We bomb the country, destroy it, we kill a bunch of women and children, and we don't, and they're like, oh, well, see, you're free now. At least you're free. Like, gee, thanks a lot. That's what causes friggin' problems with terrorism, okay? Not that they have some, like, there's some evil force that just hates freedom. No, it's because we're friggin' assholes. Stop being an asshole, and you're going to have a lot less problem with terrorism. I mean, seriously, if instead of the U.S. spending the last decade and a half or more bombing Iraq and Afghanistan, if we had spent that time, maybe, you know, get rid of Saddam or whatever, or, you know, actually, but anyway, if we'd spent that time and that money helping to rebuild their economy and their country and building schools and training teachers and doctors and hospitals and you know, food for the little kids and you know, construction jobs and infrastructure for the adults, and actually helped genuinely rebuild the country, do you seriously think that ISIS, when you know, ISIS or someone like that is going to be able to recruit from that population? Oh, death to Americans! Like, what the hell, dude? They friggin' helped me buy a house. They're putting my kids through school. I love America. You know, why would I want to attack them? You know, that's the way you know, winning hearts and minds, for fuck's sake. That's the way you do it. Not by cutting programs that actually do stuff like that. I mean, Jesus, stop. Again, of course, I realize that this is never probably going to be seen by anyone of any actual authority in the White House, but just in case, on the off chance, seriously, just quit being an asshole. Alright, just put it on a plaque, or something, make it a screensaver. Do not be an asshole. And then apply it to your policies. And you might find you get pretty good results. Okay, honestly, I might have to look into seeing if I could cut this video in half or something, because this is getting ridiculous. We're at 35 minutes. I cannot believe I actually managed to run my mouth for that long, uninterrupted. Anyway, lots of links will be in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe, dislike, whatever. Just you do you. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.